Hi, Editor Zach here. I'm currently editing the video that you at home right now are about to watch and hopefully enjoy. And then after you enjoy it so much, you hit that like button and that little subscribe button. But I'm here to warn you, the audio in this video isn't up to the quality that the other videos have been. This thing and this thing didn't talk to each other properly for whatever reason that I don't know. I promise in the future videos it will be corrected and fixed and not sound like I'm talking through a mask. So, with that being said, this is your warning. It's only about 10 minutes of your day. It's gonna hurt your ears just a little bit, but the contents of the video are very intriguing. So why don't we just go ahead and watch it? So, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing well wherever you are in the world, and welcome back from another long extended break from me because my time management skills are absolutely atrocious. But I hope you are all doing well wherever you are in the world, and this week I'm actually stealing this idea from a good friend of mine, Tomo. He's done this video in multiple videos in this series before, so if you haven't had a chance to watch his channel, go ahead and check it out. I mean, if you're watching this video right now, you've probably already heard of him, so I wouldn't be surprised. Now, full disclosure, I know I've mentioned this about 75 times since starting this channel, but I started watching Formula One back in 2015. So a lot of these liveries I'm going to be talking about, I never actually got to see in action, but that's okay. I did my research. I found ones that I really think are good looking cars. So let's get right into this one. Kicking things off at number 10, we have a very recent car. So recent, it's from the 2020 grid, and that is the 2020 Alfa Romeo. What a looker this car was, but I love this side of the car with the little white rectangles shaping into the red part of the car, and the absolutely massive Alfa Romeo logo on the side just looks so mint, so good, love it. Coming in at number 9, this one might be a bit controversial, I'm not sure. It is the 2010 Force India. I hated, absolutely despised what the Force India looked like when I started watching Formula One back in 2015. They had the gray, the dark gray, and the black, and the orange, and the green. Didn't work for me. It looked very dull and very dead, but I loved the white of the 2010. Wasn't a huge fan of its successors with the kind of rectangle looks. Wasn't a huge fan of that, even though I liked it on the Alfa Romeo. My mind works in weird ways. I like the 2010 Force India. It looks good. Nice swooping lines. You guys know I like the swooping lines. But the white and the green and the orange, it looks like the proper Indian flag. Didn't like the gray and black bits whatsoever later on. The white works for me. Number 8 is what, in my opinion, throughout the years, as we look back on it, 20, 30 years from now, the Red Bull livery is so good. It is such a good-looking, solid classic car that's going to be, I think, compared, in my opinion, to those Marlboro McLarens. Very similar vintage, but which one am I picking? There's a lot of Red Bulls to take here. We have 2010 to 2020. I'm going with the 2018. I wasn't a huge fan of the purple Infinity on the early 2010s Red Bulls. Doesn't work for me as well. And I didn't love the 2017 car, also didn't work for me. Their shark fin was just a bit too small. But the 2018 car, the first one with the halo, the actual shape of the aerodynamics of the car blends really nicely with the way that their livery design works. I love the matte paint job, I love the navy, I love the way the Red Bull's at the top crest of the car. It's a looker, and it's going to go down in history as one of the most iconic cars of all time. Mainly because they're just super stubborn and won't change it. But hey, if it looks good, don't change it. Now, coming in at number 7 is, in my opinion, one of the greatest looking Ferraris of all time in terms of aerodynamics and livery. They've had some duds this year, but the one I'm going with is the 2017 Ferrari. Oh my gosh, those 2017 cars, for the most part, are, in my opinion, some of the best looking cars in recent memory. I know a lot of people don't like the shark fin, but what Ferrari did with the shark fin looks so good. Making the whole thing white and having the red kind of swoop down to meet with the back of the engine cover. The white works so well, and then you have the green and red stripes for the Italian flag. Such a good looking car, my goodness. And now to number 6, we are going back to predating my start of watching Formula One. It's the Caterham of 2013. What a car! That green on the Caterham with the yellow. I like the lighter green. In the previous years, they had a darker British racing green, which I am a fan of. But for this car, the brighter metallic green with that yellow slit on the back just looks so mint and so fresh. Literally mint because it's green. Wow. Let's just move on. Coming in at number 5, I don't know if people are going to disagree or agree with me on this one. It's really hard to tell. But I'm going into 2012 with the HRT. Such a good looking car. I know the color scheme might be a bit controversial, but I love the gold, I love the red, and the white looks so good as the base. I don't know what it is, and the way they had the number on the side pod with it being all stretched out, I don't know. It looks really good to me. I'm a big fan. Number 4, we're going another recent livery in Formula One, Halo era F1. It is the 2019 Toro Rosso. I absolutely love the base blue of this car. It's so different, it's so unique, and the way the red just cuts through the back of the car and the thickness of that red line going across the side pod. I love how thick it is. It looks so good. And that chrome Red Bull logo. Mwah. But then they made the 2020 AlphaTauri, and then what a step back, really. So now we're getting into the top 3 of my favorite liveries between 2010 and 2020. Kicking things off with the bronze medal, 3rd place on the podium, we have the 2018 Williams Martini. I miss the Martini branding so much. In my opinion, it is one of the best sponsorships for a race car in history. It's so good. But 2018, again, just like the Red Bull, the shape of the car with the halo, the lack of the shark fin worked in this case. Just the way the Martini lines flow across the car looks so good. I really miss it. I know it got a bit bland after a while because it was the same car rehashed every single year. Now, number 2. This one, again, just like the Red Bull, is going to go down in history as an extremely iconic livery because of just, in this case, how dominant the car itself was. Now, the Mercedes liveries of the past few years have all been pretty samey. You got the silver, you got the teal. It looks good, it looks fine. And then they rolled up in 2020 with their new car. It looked the same as the rest. And then they switched to the black paint job. Woo! That thing looks so good going down the track. Every time I saw it, I wasn't even sad that a Mercedes was at the front of the grid because it just looks so good. And when they brought in the gradient of stars in 2019, I loved that. It looks so much better on the black car. I don't even hate the Ineos branding. The red fits in well with it. Can't wait to see what they come up with for 2021 because they've said they're sticking with the black. I'm okay with that because it's so good. Now, for number 1, my number 1 favorite livery of the 2010s. This one might surprise some people because it's actually a car from 5 years before I even started watching the sport. But this era of this team has such a good look. It's honestly in my top 3 all-time favorite liveries ever. I will just say that right now. But we're going back to 2010 and the Vodachrome McLaren. Ooh, every time I see it, I get shivers because it's just got that quality. You know, everyone's favorite livery, you know what yours is. Whenever you see it, there's just something about it that puts it above every other livery you've seen in your life, and that's what the Vodachrome does for me. Now, I know a lot of you out there are thinking, why did I go with the 2010 McLaren? The 2011, 2012, 2013, they all had pretty much the same looking car. But the reason I went with the 2010 was because I didn't like the aero of those cars after it was out. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I like the shark fin. I think it looks cool. Again, depending on the car, it can detract, it can add to what the car looks like. I like the way it looks on the 2010 McLaren. It adds to that kind of spaceshipy look to how the car looks. That's why even before that in 2008, which isn't a part of this, that 2008 McLaren is one of my favorite cars of all time because of how much it just looks like a spaceship. That's how Formula One cars, for me, are supposed to look. And that 2010, the Vodachrome, I shouldn't have to explain why I love it. It's so good. So there it is, my favorite liveries from the decade of the 2010s, ranked from worst to best. I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. What are your favorite liveries from the decade? And let me know what you think of my selections. But feel free to click the stamp, send that subscribe button down below, drop a like if you really liked it, and don't miss the apex.